Ladies and gentlemen, 15 years ago, the Melbourne Press Club began awarding a Lifetime Achievement Award for sustained excellence. People don't enter this award, it's bestowed by the full committee of the Press Club and is our highest honour. The names of past winners form an elite bunch. Between them, they could put out one hell of a newspaper or news program. They include Keith Dunstan, Harry Gordon, John Sorrell, Les Carline, Laurie Oakes and Michelle Grattan. 3 of the 15 Lifetime Achievers are cartoonists: Les Tanner, Jeff Hook and Bill Green, or Weg, as he was better known. This reflects the magnificent cartooning heritage in Australia generally and in Melbourne in particular. We have produced some truly world-class cartoonists. Tonight, we honour a 4th cartoonist who has achieved more international recognition than all but a handful of Australian journalists. Ladies and gentlemen, the Melbourne Press Club's 2009 Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Bruce Penn.
Thank you very much to Melbourne Press Club and the Quill Award Committee for this very, very special tribute, and I'm very, very touched by it. Prizes for doing what you like doing seems a bit odd to me, but when you get one, you change your mind a bit. I'm quite pleased to receive this. Victoria's my home state anyway. Melbourne, beautiful city, which I know well, I've known all my life. But particularly, it's pleasing to me to be within this community, the great media community, to be part of it as a cartoonist, very much on the fringe, but nevertheless, it is an absolutely fascinating area of human activity, it seems to me, and I wonder what we all do. What is our effect? And it's as though, if we were a cartoonist, we'd say it's like a great soapbox. We all get on this soapbox, and we do what we do. What this room represents is we sell things, we warn people, we procrastinate, we dance, sing, we moralise, and we generally spread alarm and doom, and then we make people laugh. And we do this simultaneously. It must be a huge puzzle to the rest of the world. To see what we do standing on this soapbox. In fact, you could say that media has a kind of identity crisis of some sort. And we're not really interested in identity anyway, we're interested in ratings, let's face it. But it seems to me that it is a huge adventure. I think media is just an amazing area of human activity, and I would like to acknowledge on behalf of cartoonists, I think cartoonists everywhere, that words are the key. The people who do words and words that produce ideas, I think are the people that, without them, I think the cartoon would be a blank space. I have to admit, we need people to write, and we need them to write clearly. And I would say there are people in this room who actually know what's going on. There are people in this room who know stuff. For instance, collateralised debt obligation. There are people in this room that know what that means. There are people who know what too big to fail means. And what is the size at which you're allowed to fail. There's people in this room that know what anamorphic means. There's people who know what carbon does when it's one part in 3,000, a couple of kilometres up, and it'll stop us. It'll let the sun through, but it won't let it out again. There are people who know how that works. In other words, what I'm saying is that life is very complex, and cartoonists, we're just busy trying to do a proper face for our Prime Minister. And we need the people, you people, who do these analytical things to tell us what is going on. So I'm just talking about complexity, and everybody knows the world is getting complex. That's understood. And it's sort of good for cartoonists in a way, because that means we're supposed to simplify, so we just draw the politicians that we've elected, and we add in a couple of words. I add in a couple of pulleys and levers and call it short selling, or I call it hedge funds. But I don't really know what's going on. I have to admit, we can give the impression that we've got a profound understanding of what's going on. I mean, it's very hard to draw a derivative. I mean, what is a derivative derived from, for a start? It obviously baffles the auditing section. They can't do it. There's no way you can put a value on it. And yet people spend their life savings owning one of these things. Complexity, well, there's another characteristic of complexity I'd just like to mention, and that is that each of these areas of study, in newspapers, in television, in videos, has a language of its own. For instance, accountants have a word I saw the other day called a spin code. It's a spin-off company called a spin code. The cyber people, the people who know about cyber, they have a thing called interlacing. They know what that is. Food people who write food, and they have drizzle. Science people are looking for the Higgs boson, which is a quantum thing. I mean, when I'm talking about, sports people have a thing called tanking. And these are all new languages, it seems to me. And we've got I don't know that we know what one another is talking about anymore. Julia says we should all learn English in a much sharper way, and I think she's right, and Indonesian if we can. But I think we should learn to teach this tech talk. Cantonese, foodies, sporties. These are languages that are suddenly incoherent to one another. Another slightly characteristic of this complexity is the conceptual thing. Now, when I was started, which is years ago, I get into the olden days now. Some of you may remember the 60s, I don't know, but I remember the 60s. And I'm just putting a couple of issues that came up in the 60s. Well, there was black power, and you could understand that all right. And the women's movement, the women made sure we knew what liberation was. And if you're talking AFL, well, the issue of the day, column inches everywhere, was the flick pass. That is Polypharma, Geelong, the flick pass. That strikes a chord, surely? No. Never mind. Darryl Baldock? No. But one of the issues in the 60s was the green belt. It was going to go through Templestowe, round Springvale, through Ivanhoe. It was going to surround Victoria. The green belt was an issue. But at least we knew what it was. I don't know whether you've been to Templestowe lately, but there is no green belt there. But now it's much more conceptual than that kind of thing. It's like broadband, HD, high definition. I mean, it's not only to get a nice picture in Echuca of Oprah Winfrey. That's one component of it. But you've also got to accept that a surgeon in the Footscray District Hospital can do a liver transplant in Bairnsdale on his computer. I think we're asked to believe this is how the liver could come from Warrnambool. These things are not fantasy anymore. It looks like they can possibly happen. Conceptual. I mean, they're difficult concepts for cartoonists to draw, for people to write about. The AFL, for instance, if you want to go back, just in passing, there's an AFL room now. Incorrect disposal of the ball. I mean, I think that's conceptual. I don't know how umpires work that one out. What I'm trying to say is there's new challenges for the media generally. And so audiences know that we're not quite onto it, it seems to me. Audiences are edgy. Let me say this, that I think the difference between then and now, then, for instance, people we get on our soapbox in the olden days, and people used to come around us with their Bakelite little radios and televisions and wait for us and stop everything while the news came on, while Dad and Dave came on. Everything stops for the media. They look and they listen to what we've got to say. But now, I think we get on the box, and we do our thing, and people are looking and listening to one another. They are looking and listening to one another on YouTube and Facebook and all these things. In other words, the audience seems to have slid away. So what do we do? What do we do on our soapbox when this happens? Do we shout louder? Or do we get ruder? Or we just talk to one another? I think there's a few puzzles that technology has left the people in this room and the media generally. Let me just say finally that I think I should mention the people I've worked for over these long years that I've got the award for. ABC, SBS, the film area, the great seductive area where you can animate and they put music on, sound and bells, and it's terrific, seductive and classy. But the press is where my intuitive kind of skill is always heading. I wanted to do Vicky here in Australia. I wanted to do what Webb did. I wanted to do what all our great Australian cartoonists of the past did. And so I worked for the Daily Mirror in Sydney and the Australian for some years. And for the last 30 years, I've worked for The Age, and The Age is my professional home, and I would like to thank all the people, the editors and the cartoonists and staff and people that have made The Age such a creative and imaginative, classy icon of an institution that it is. My thanks to Quill, the Melbourne Press Club, and I'm very honoured to receive this award. Thank you.